Welcome students, welcome back again. So today we are going to start our first chapter of our unit 3, that is magnetic effect of current, and here we have to undergo through these topics first. So here the first topic which we will study here is about the concept of magnetic effect of current, which was explained by Oersted's experiment. Then we have three rules: Ampere's swimming rule or Maxwell's corkscrew rule and right hand thumb rule to identify the direction of magnetic field. Then very important rule, Biot-Savart's law and its application in the form of magnetic field due to infinitely long straight current carrying conductor and magnetic field due to current carrying circular loop. Then another important rule, Ampere's circuital law and magnetic if field due to solenoid and magnetic field due to toroidal solenoid or toroid we will study here. So let's start this. So the first concept, magnetic effect. First of all, we should know what is the magnetic field. This we have already studied in class 9th, sorry, class 10th, that if we have a magnet, then it will have certain space around it in which it exerts force on other magnets. That is known as magnetic field, and its strength we can denote with the help of symbol capital B. So now the according to the concept of magnetic effect of current, we have an electric current, that means flow of electric charge produces magnetic effect in the space around the conductor, and that magnetic field developed is called the strength of magnetic field or simply the magnetic field. Basically, the concept of magnetic effect of current states that whenever current passes through a conductor, then it produces magnetic field around it. No need to produce any permanent magnet here. We can produce magnetic field with the help of current carrying wire also. And this was explained by the concept of Oersted experiment, in which Oersted performed an experiment in which what he has done, there was a cell or battery connected with a circuit containing a wire. This is the wire below which we have kept this magnetic needle. Magnetic needle is a device which is very sensitive towards a magnetic field. Whenever magnetic field is experienced by this needle, it shows deflection. So right now in this conductor, no current is passing because the key is off. When we close this key, current will start passing through this conductor. Let's see what happens. See, when current is passed through the conductor, magnetic needle is showing deflection. Let's see it again. When key is closed, current is starts passing through the conductor, and due to this the magnetic needle starts deflecting. So this shows that current carrying wire produces magnetic field around it, or we can say when current passes through a conductor, then it produces magnetic field around it. So when current was allowed to flow through a wire placed parallel to the axis of a magnetic needle kept directly below the wire, the needle was found to deflect from its normal position, and this is because of the production of magnetic field around the wire when current starts passing through it. One more observation was made by the Oersted experiment, and this was that in this second observation, the terminals of the cells are reversed so that direction of current may be reversed in the circuit. Let's see again. When key is kept closed, then what happens? Direction of current is changed, so diffraction direction also changes. This shows that the direction of magnetic field depends on the direction of current passing through the conductor. This is very important point. So when current was reversed through the wire, the needle was found to deflect in the opposite direction to the earlier case. So now we have the concept of magnetic field, production of magnetic field due to a wire passing or carrying current. Now magnetic field being a vector quantity, we should know how to determine the direction of the magnetic field. For this we have three rules. One by one we will discuss them. Number one is Ampere's swimming rule, which is also known as snow rule, SNOW, south, north over west. Let's see what it states. It states that if we imagine a man who swims in the direction of current from south to north, facing the magnetic needle kept under him, such that current enters his feet, then the north pole of the needle will deflect towards his left hand, that means towards west. See, this is the concept of east, west, north, south. We all know east, right hand side, left side, west, upside, north, and downside, south. So in this direction, if a person is swimming in such a way that current enters from south to north, from his feet to head, south to north, that's why SN. Over west, the deflection of the needle kept below him will deflect towards his left hand, that is towards west. See, when current starts passing through south to north, current is passing through south to north, magnetic needle is going west. This is our first rule. Now coming back to the second rule, we have Maxwell's cork screw rule, also known as right hand screw rule. This is also very important, which can give the direction of magnetic field. According to this, if the forward motion of the imaginary right-handed screw is in the direction of current through a linear conductor, then the direction of rotation of the screw gives the direction of magnetic lines of force around the conductor. Very simple rule it is. What it is saying, इसके अकॉर्डिंगली हमारे पास ऐसा है कि अगर हम एक स्क्रू को राइट हैंड में पकड़कर रोटेट करते हैं और जो टिप ऑफ द स्क्रू है, इफ़ इट इज़ इन डायरेक्शन ऑफ करंट पासिंग थ्रू द कंडक्टर, द रोटेशन ऑफ द screw will give the direction of magnetic field lines around the conductor, and tangents drawn on these lines gives the direction of magnetic field. See, in this current is going up, tip is going up. When we rotate in this direction, the arrow is showing the direction of rotation. So direction of current is in the direction of motion of the tip. This rotation will give the direction of magnetic field B. Similarly, if we reverse it, tip will come down, rotation will be in this way. If we observe it from top side, it is clockwise, this one is anti-clockwise. So in this way we will represent the direction of magnetic field. Next, third rule, right hand thumb rule, or we can say it curled rule. Very famous rule and very common rule we can say, because this we have already studied in 10th class also. According to this, if we kept our right hand in this position such that thumb gives the direction of current in the conductor by imagining the holding the current carrying wire, then these curl or curvature of the fingers will give the direction of magnetic field lines. See, if we imagine to hold a wire carrying current such that thumb gives the direction of current in the conductor, then curvature of finger will give the direction of magnetic field lines. This is the direction of magnetic field lines. From the top face, it is anti-clockwise. If we observe it from bottom face, it will be observed clockwise. So if a current carrying conductor is imagined to be held in the right hand such that the thumb points in the direction of current, then the tips of the fingers encircling the conductor will give the direction of magnetic field lines or magnetic lines of force. Now the very important rule, let's begin with this. Biot-Savart's law. In the Oersted experiment, we have discussed that current when passes through a conductor produces magnetic field. But how much magnetic field is produced, that was not given by Oersted. It was calculated by Biot and Savart through their law, which they produces or they gave it collectively. So we call this as Biot-Savart's law. According to this, if we have a wire of any shape and current is passing through it, I current is passing through it, and we have a point P. At this point P, we can find the direction of magnetic field as well as the magnitude. For this, we have to assume a small portion of this wire, this portion of the wire which is known as DL, and current is passing through it. So this small portion is called element having current through it. So I into DL will be treated as current element. This current element is at certain distance from the point P, which is kept as R, and it is making certain angle theta with the direction. So at point P as well as at point P dash, which is also at distance, certain distance R, the direction of magnetic field here is denoted by cross, which means the direction of magnetic field is inward to the plane of the paper. Similarly, at point P, it will denoted by dot, which means coming out. The dot symbol in this unit will represent the outward direction with respect to your notebook or plane of the board, and cross is representing inward direction. We can draw right, we can draw left, we can draw up, we can draw down, but we cannot draw in. So to represent this inward, we have represented cross. Similarly, outward, we have represented dot. So according to this, the magnetic field dB, due to the small current element of length dl carrying current I at a point p distance r from the element, is directly proportional to current, length and sine of the angle, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance, that means r square. Let's see. dB is directly proportional to I, directly proportional to dl, directly proportional to sine theta, and inversely proportional to r square. So if we combine all these relations, we get dB is proportional to I dl sine theta by r square. Now breaking this proportionality, we always get equal to along with the constant, and here the constant is mu naught by 4 pi I dl sine theta by r square. So here the expression, this expression mu naught by 4 pi, this we can represent like this. The expression mu naught by 4 pi, its value is 10 to the power minus 7 Tesla ampere inverse meter, and here the term, this mu naught by 4 pi, this is called magnetic constant. We call it as the entire expression in the bracket, we call it as magnetic constant. In the same way, we had electrostatic constant in electrostatics. So in magnetism we have magnetic constant. The term mu naught is known as permeability of free space, which means the same, that permission obtained by magnetic field from the space, free space or vacuum, or we can say air, and this entire expression is called magnetic constant, whose value is 10 to the power minus 7. If we have to find the value of mu naught, we can multiply this 4 pi with 10 to the power minus 7, and we will get the unit as same. So you can note down this relation also if required. Now representation of Biot-Savart's law in vector form, because magnetic field is a vector quantity, so very important, we have to represent it in vector form also. So here what we have taken, the formula was I dl sine theta by r square, and in representation of vector form we can represent it in this way. See, the rule is dB is equals to mu naught by 4 pi dl I dl sine theta by r square. This is the general expression which we have already studied. Now because we have to represent this vector as this quantity as vector, so we will put arrow here. For this we need to express direction in this expression, and that can be easily represented by the help of a unit vector r cap. So we have to put r cap here. Now in this expression dl sine theta and r cap, we are using the cross product concept. So dl and r will be in cross product. So the same thing we have represented here. dl vector and r cap are in cross product now, and sine theta is merged with the expression. Now another thing, that r cap can be written as r vector divided by r. So using this formula we can write the expression in this way. So we can write the expression in this way, like see, the expression can be written as I dl vector by r square becomes r cube, because one r is there in the expression. From r vector, r cap is equals to r vector divided by r. So in this way we have written the expression. Value of mu naught we have already discussed, 4 pi into 10 to the power minus 7 Tesla ampere inverse meter, or Weber per meter per ampere also we can write. Direction of magnetic field is same as that of the direction of dl vector cross r vector, and dl vector cross r vector can easily be determined with the help of right hand screw rule, or right handed cork screw rule we can use. then it is emerging out, this means outward at p dash and entering inward, this cross means inward at point p into the plane of the diagram. So current element is a vector quantity whose magnitude is the vector product of current and dl vector or length vector of a small element having the direction of flow of current idl. Got it? So you can note down this if required. Now, magnetic field due to straight wire carrying current. This is the application of Biot-Savart's law. Now we will find how to represent the direction, how to find the magnitude of magnetic field due to a straight wire with the help of Biot-Savart's law. So here we have taken a wire, straight long wire. From this wire we have a point P. We have a small current element. This is the small current element. It is at distance r. Now this is small a is the perpendicular distance, we can say shortest distance from the current element to the point P, which is perpendicular. We already consider it as perpendicular distance, and this is the expression L, which we consider as a distance of current element from the central point, angle theta, angle phi, and now we are assuming here, we are assuming the two extreme ends of the wire. This is the extreme lower end, this one is the extreme upper end, and they are making angle phi 1 and phi 2 in place of phi. Actually, if we change the position of this element, this dl, if we change the position, if we bring it downward or upward, the value of angle phi will change. So its range will be phi 1 from the lowest point to phi 2 to the uppermost point. Later on we will use this. So let's come to the next step. Here the magnetic field will be downward as with respect to the direction of current. Current is going up. If we imagine this wire in our right hand, then curvature of finger will go inward at point P. So according to Biot-Savart's law, we have dB is equals to mu naught upon 4 pi I dl sine theta by r square. Now what we will do here, sine theta in this triangle, this is angle 90, theta plus phi will be equal to 180. So sine theta can be written as a upon r, which is equivalent to cos phi, or also we can write in place of theta as 180 minus phi, which can be written as cos phi. 90 minus phi, cos 90 minus phi, sin 90 minus phi can be written as cos phi. So from this, after cross multiplication, r will be equal to a by cos phi. Tan phi we are taking as L by a, this is L by a. So L will be equal to a tan theta, and if we differentiate it with respect to phi, we are differentiating on both sides. It will be giving dl by d phi, which will be taken here. A is constant, so taken outside, and tan phi is producing sec square phi. This is the simple formula of differentiation. Substituting the value of r dl and r dl and in dB, and this sine theta also, we are putting this sine theta, this tan phi, and this dl in the expression of this dB. That means in equation number 1 we can say here, this is the equation number 1, putting here the values, we will get what we are doing here. We are putting mu naught upon 4 pi as same, this mu naught upon 4 pi is same in the step, I is same. Now in place of dl we have taken a sec square phi d phi. Then we have in place of r square, r is a by cos phi, so r square is a square by cos square phi. Cos square phi and sec square phi, they are balanced. In place of sine theta we have cos phi, and d phi is as usual. So 1a is cancelled from the expression. So the remaining expression we have is this mu naught by 4 pi I cos phi d phi by a. Now this is the small magnetic field with limits. Variable form is phi. So phi value can be changing from this phi 1 to phi 2, and moreover it is actually minus phi 1 2 plus phi 2, because the concept is with respect to, if we consider this point as origin, if we consider it as origin, then below origin all angles are negative and upper side all are positive. So integrating the expression from minus phi 1 to phi 2, magnetic field due to whole conductor is obtained by integrating with limits minus phi 1 to phi 2. Phi 1 is taken negative since it is anti-clock. So B will be obtained by integration of dB, which is limit with limits minus phi 1 to phi 2 mu naught I cos phi d phi by 4 pi a. So mu naught I upon 4 pi a constant can be taken outside. Mu naught I upon 4 pi a we have taken outside, and remaining expression is becoming sin phi 1 plus sin phi 2. This we can understand like this, that in the expression we have minus phi 1 to phi 2, and the expression remaining inside the integration sign is cos phi d phi. This is cos phi d phi. Outside expression is mu naught I upon 4 pi a. Then solving it, we will get mu naught I upon 4 pi a, and integration of cos phi is minus integration of cos phi is sin phi. So this sin phi will be having limits minus phi 1 to phi 2. So substituting the limits, we will get here mu naught I upon 4 pi a. Then cos sin phi is sin upper limit sin phi 2, then minus of sin minus phi 1. This minus phi 1, this minus can be taken outside. So in this with this minus it will become plus, and hence we will get in bracket sin phi 1 plus sin phi 2 that we have written here. Okay, so this is the final formula which we have obtained. You can note down if required. Then special case, if the straight wire is infinitely long. So this is actually the special case of our relation. If the wire we have taken is infinitely long, then what will happen in with respect to the previous case, these angles in front of each other will be equal. The angle which are in front of each other, this angle is 90, and this angle is phi 2. If we consider this point at much upper part because of infinite position, so this side and this side will be almost infinite, so angle in front of each other will be same. So phi 2 must be equivalent to 90 degree, as well as phi 1 to phi 1 also should be equal to 90 degree. So if we consider this here, then angle phi 1 and phi 2 will be treated as 90, both are pi by 2, and putting it in the formula, we will get mu naught I upon 4 pi a into 2, because the formula was sin phi 1 plus sin phi 2. Phi 1 and phi 2 are 90, so sin 90 plus sin 91. So sin 90 plus sin 90 in the bracket will produce 2. We can manage this 2 with the help of 4. So the final formula will be mu naught I upon 2 pi a. This would be the formula for magnetic field due to infinitely long wire. If finite long wire is there, then previous formula will be used. If infinite wire is there, we have to use this formula. So direction of magnetic field is same as that of direction of dl vector cross r vector, which can be determined by right hand screw rule or right hand thumb rule also we can use. It is perpendicular to the plane of the diagram and entering into the plane at point P. So here, if we draw a graph between magnetic field versus distance, clearly on downward as well as on upper side, or on both side, it will be varying with the inversely proportional to distance, because of, we can say, this relation, this B is inversely proportional to A. And now the magnetic field lines due to a straight wire we can draw in this way. This is the straight wire carrying current on the plane of the paper. Magnetic field lines will be in this direction. See the direction here, we have represented this one and this one. These are in similar to that of the curvature of this fingers. So in this way, we will have multiple directions. If the direction of current is downward, it will be reversed. Obviously, the direction of fingers is now like this. This is the direction of curl of the fingers, as the thumb is representing downward current. So the direction of magnetic field lines will also be in the same way. This is the direction of magnetic field. So on these lines, drawing the tangent, we will get the direction of magnetic field at the respective point. You can note down this too if required. Now magnetic field due to circular loop carrying current. Let's see what it is giving. First case is at a point on the axial line. This is the wire in the form of a circle. Circular loop is there with center O and radius small a. And this is the direction of current in such a way that on upper part, here the current will be coming outward and here the current will be going inward. Then this is the point P on the axis at distance x. Point P, we have to find magnetic field at point P. So at distance r we have to find, and it is in such a way that this distance r is at 90 degree here, as well as from this part portion xy, which is of length dl, it will be making 90 degree. Then magnetic field will be perpendicular to the radius, and if we draw the angle phi here, we will have two components. This dv is resolved as db cos phi at angle phi and dv sin phi perpendicular to the first component. Then similarly, from the lower position, diametrically opposite position, we have another element x dash y dash of same length dl. It will also produce magnetic field db. At same angle phi, it will be producing sine component in same direction, so they will be add up, and cos component this time in opposite direction, so they will cancel each other. So we have to take care of these components while solving the relation. The plane of the coil is considered perpendicular to the plane of the diagram. You can visualize it in such a way that the plane of the coil is perpendicular to the board or to the screen, such that the direction of magnetic field can be visualized on the plane of the diagram. So for this, at C and D, current in xy and x dash y dash are considered such that current at C emerges out, and at D it is entering into the plane of the paper or plane of the diagram. So you can note down this, very important figure is very important, that will help us to understand the derivation. You can draw it. Now coming to the next step, magnetic field at the point P due to element xy or x dash y dash, we have mu naught ideal sine theta upon r square, where theta is 90. So theta is 90, so expression is mu naught ideal by 4 pi r square. Now the value of angle theta dl and r is 90, that we have already shown. The semi-vertical angle made by r to the loop is phi, and the angle between r vector and db is 90. Therefore the angle between the vertical axis and db is also phi. This is the symmetry of the figure, and db is resolved into two components that we have already discussed in the diagram, db cos phi and db sin phi. Due to diametrically opposite current elements, cos phi components are always opposite to each other, so they cancel each other. Sin phi components will add up in the same direction, so total magnetic field will be obtained by adding the sine component, or we can say dv sin phi integration will produce the total magnetic field at the required point. This is the expression for db sin phi. Db value we have used from this step, and using here sin phi. Now see, this here expression is having d with l, so limits will be used for 0 to 2 pi, which is the minimum length of the circular loop, to the maximum circumference 2 pi a. Then solving it, mu naught I upon 4 pi r square can be written as under root of a square plus x square. R is under root of a square plus x square, so we have used r square as a square plus x square. This dl will produce dl, which will be 2 pi a minus 0, so 2 pi a we have used here. Then sin phi is a by r, this is a, and the value of r we have used under root of a square plus x square. Then coming to next step, mu naught I a square, 2 pi a, and here pi and pi cancelled, 2 and 4 cancelled, a and a becomes a square plus x square power 1 and 1 by 2. Here we have power 1. So power 1 and 1 by 2 becomes 3 by 2, and this is the final result at the axis of the magnetic field. You can note down the relation. Okay. So now coming to the special case, if we consider the point P at center, the distance x will be 0. Putting in the formula, we will get x, putting as 0, we will get this formula mu naught I upon 2r or 2a, where a is the radius. If we consider the observation point is far away from the coil, then a is much lesser than x. So a square can be neglected in comparison with x square. So formula will be mu naught I a square upon 2x cube. Taking the graph in this way, at the center O we have the maximum magnetic field. At center O, or at the center origin, we can have maximum magnetic field. If we go along the axis on right side, it decreases. If we go along the left side, also it decreases. So different views of direction of current and magnetic field due to circular loop. This is very important. If we have a plane over which a coil is there in this direction, current is going, you can see current is going clockwise it is going. So in clockwise, if we consider our right hand says that curvature of fingers is in the direction of current, then thumb will give the direction of magnetic field at the center. See how it is going inward, or we can say downward. So cross magnetic field will be used here. Here the magnetic field shown is cross. It must be cross because it is going inward to the plane of the board. In this way we can check. This is the direction of current, direction of magnetic field. In this way it is coming left to right. So you can note down this required. Then magnetic field at center of the loop. This is second application. Magnetic field at the center of current carrying circular loop. This is the coil, circular loop carrying current I, having radius a. Current is passing clockwise direction. This is the DL element and it is making angle 90 degree with the radius. Again, magnetic field must be downward because of clockwise direction. In clockwise it will be downward, anti-clockwise it will be upward. So the plane of the coil is lying to the plane of the diagram and direction of current is clockwise. So the direction of magnetic field is perpendicular and into the plane. This is very important. A small magnetic field at point P or at point O, mu naught upon 4 pi ideal sine theta by r square. That means a square. Sine theta is 90, theta is 90, so sine theta is 1. So expression mu naught ideal by 4 pi a square. Integrating here, the integration limits, again we have dl. So minimum limit will be 0 and upper limit, this is 2 pi and a, as we have discussed in the previous derivation. So this is the expression for limits. Now mu naught I upon 4 pi a square can be taken outside and integration of dl will become L. So if we consider one more step here, mu naught by 4 pi I upon a square, dl becomes L. Limits will be 0 to 2 pi a and it will produce 0 to 2 pi a will give 2 pi a minus 0. So 2 pi a minus 0 will be 2 pi a. So a and a will be cancelled, pi and pi will be cancelled, 2 and 4 will be cancelled. So this will be the formula, and you can check the formula is same as we have got in a special case of magnetic field at axis of the current carrying coil. So you can note down if required. This is the explanation. Then magnetic field at radius minimum, magnetic field is maximum. As radius increases, then magnetic field decreases, but we cannot touch here. Here the expression, here the graph is not touching the axis because it is showing that at 0 radius no magnetic field is there, or we can say at 0 radius infinite magnetic field is there. So you can note down as required. So let's start next topic, that is Ampere's circuital law. So Ampere's circuital law, according to this law, this is basically, we can say, in comparison with the topic Gauss law we have already discussed in electrostatics. According to this, the line integral of magnetic field, line integral of magnetic field means B vector and dl vector in taken dot with closed integral for a closed curve is equal to mu naught times of the net current I, that is threading the path, or we can say threading through the area bounded by the curve. What does this mean? Let's see in the figure. Suppose we have closed integral of b dot dl equals to mu naught I. This means we are saying this is the wire carrying current in upward direction as I. This is a certain closed path through which current I is passing. So this is called current threading the path. We can say basically current into number of turns, and it is equivalent to mu naught times of I, which is equivalent to b dot dl. Here the dl is called line vector, which is drawn over the closed path as compared to right hand thumb rule only. See, if we have a wire like this, we have a, if we consider a closed path around this wire which is carrying current, certain current I, it is carrying I current, and now we will consider a closed path around this. So for this, let's see another color. This is a closed path around this wire. So over this closed path, we can have a small portion which is called dl. This is called line vector in this way. Its direction is obtained in the same way as we have calculated the direction for magnetic field due to straight wire. At this point also we can draw element in this way. This is again dl element. We can draw here also small element dl. Anywhere we can draw the small element dl to represent the direction of current element. So its direction and magnetic field direction is obtained by the same rule. This is dl, small vector, dl vector. This is dl vector, and this one is also dl vector. So b dot dl, if we take for closed path, this is the symbol for closed integration. It is equivalent to mu naught times of I. So in this way, closed path dl we have taken. Current is emerging out and magnetic field is anti-clockwise. So if we have to prove this law, we are considering b dot dl. So b dl cos 0, b and dl are giving same direction, so dl and b will be having same direction, so same angle, same direction will produce 0 angle, cos 0. Then taking b dl, b taken outside, dl is remaining, and here very important dl. This is basically dl is the small portion of the closed path of radius r. So the limits here we can use 0 to 2 pi a. In place of a we have r, so we can use 0 to 2 pi r. So 0 to 2 pi r will give, dl will give l, then upper limit minus lower limit, 0 to 2 pi r we can use here. So 2 pi r minus 0 will give 2 pi r. The same thing we have written here. Now here in this step, we have used mu naught I upon 2 pi a, the formula for infinitely long wire. And cancelling this 2 pi r and 2 pi r, we can have the result for closed integral b dot dl as mu naught times of I. So this is our result for Ampere's circuital law. You can note down this if required. Now coming to magnetic field due to a solenoid. If we observe the magnetic field symmetry due to solenoid, it will be similar to that of a bar magnet. To make a solenoid, we know that there must be a base over which wire will be taken in helical form. In this way, helical form wire is maintained. This concept you have also studied in 10th class also. So current is entering this way, then exiting, then entering, then exiting, and so on. This is the way the current is passing through this solenoid. On the upper portion, it is coming out. On the lower portion, it is going backward, inward, then coming out, then inward, then out, then inward, and so on. and this portion will produce magnetic field in this structure. See, once more, the magnetic field lines due to this current carrying source will be in this way. So one end through which current enters, this is important thing, that the end through which current is entering, it is behaving as south, and the end through which current exits, that end will be behaving like north. This is in accordance with the loop rule, we can say. If direction of current is clockwise, it will be treated as south. If direction of current is anti-clockwise, it will be treated as north. So if we observe through this direction, in this direction, we are facing the solenoid and we observe and see current is going up, coming outward from back side. So if we observe from this direction, it will be appearing us as clockwise direction. So this clockwise direction will produce magnetic field in the form of south pole, and similarly on the other side it will be in the same way, it will be north. So this is the structure of magnetic field due to a solenoid. So let's find what value it is producing. This is north, this is south, you can say. You can check this. This n is in the direction, in this way it is denoting, and this is actually anti-clockwise direction. That's why we have put it as north pole. Then this s, it is giving direction in this way. You can see the tip of the letters. So clockwise direction is giving south, anti-clockwise direction is giving north. That's why we have taken south and north pole. So coming to the next topic, you can note down this if required. This is the main tip which we have already discussed. Then coming to next topic, magnetic field at the center of the straight solenoid carrying current. So this is the solenoid again carrying current in the same way we have already discussed in the previous step. This is the direction of current, then direction of magnetic field also we have. How to represent it, we know this easily. So now the current is completed in the solenoid, and now direction of magnetic field in this way. Now here we have taken a portion of the solenoid which is a closed loop, so that we can apply Ampere circuital law. We are assuming the direction of the closed path in this way, anti-clockwise way. We are representing the direction of the closed path in anti-clockwise direction, P to Q, to Q, P to Q, then Q to R, then R to S, and S to P. So direction of magnetic field, we know that this end is south, this end is north, and magnetic field direction is always south to north inside the magnet. So this is the direction we have already checked. The length of the closed path is A, and before this, let's draw the direction of magnetic field here. This is the direction of magnetic field from south to north inside the magnet, and if we draw the small element on this closed path, it will be drawn like this. This is the small element dl from P to Q, but here the small element dl Q to R will be in this way. Then S to R to S, it will be like this. Here this is the direction of small element dl. R to S, it is showing its direction. And the last one, you must understood this. This is the direction of S to P, small element dl. Now if we apply the direction of magnetic field to these elements, easily we can understand that angle is changing continuously. For P to Q, it is similar to that of magnetic field B, so it will be giving 0, but this dl Q to R is giving 90, this S to P is giving also 90, this R to S is giving 180. So this closed integral B dot dl for the entire closed path, we can say P Q R S, which is equivalent to mu naught times of total current threading the path. We can have this in the split up part of P2Q, B dot dl now we are taking P2Q, Q2R, R2S and S2P because angle is changing continuously. Now substituting the angles, here we have angle 0, we have already discussed, here angle 90, here angle 180 and here angle 90 again. Now if we assume that magnetic field is existing here but not outside, so this part angle is giving 0 magnetic field, this part is cos 90 will be 0, here magnetic field is 0, so this part is also 0 and cos 90 is again 0, so the remaining magnetic field will be obtained from this segment only. So this is BDL, B taken outside, DL remaining, and DL is limit from 0 to A, 0 to A, total length is A. So 0 to A will give A minus 0, that means A only. So B into A we have obtained here. Now equating it with mu naught into I naught. Mu naught into I naught is mu naught NAI. But we have taken here, we have taken this expression like this. Here the expression for mu naught I naught is mu naught, and I naught is current threading the path, which is N, number of turns per unit length into current. This is the actual formula. So equating it in place of mu naught I naught, we have taken B into A. So A and A cancelled, so mu naught Ni is the result obtained. You can note down it as required. N is the number of turns per unit length, A is the length of the path, and I is the current passing through the plate of the solenoid. Now coming to the last topic, magnetic field due to toroidal solenoid or toroid. Toroid is basically this wire in the helical form, but it is endless solenoid like. Current is wounded over a ring, so that from one portion it starts and at the same portion it comes out. So current is passing through it, will produce magnetic field in this direction. DL is the small current element for closed path. Magnetic field is also in the same direction, so angle will be 0, radius is R for this. Magnetic field at center is 0, outside is also 0, so magnetic field will be confined within the toroid. So inside it is not 0, that we have to find. B dot dl mu naught times of I for closed circular path, it is BDL cos 0, limits will be 0 to 2 pi r. So here limits are 0 to 2 pi r, as we have already seen that closed path is of circular shape of radius r, so 0 to 2 pi r will be the limits. In all steps we have to represent the limits, and dl will give L, which will be upper limit 2 pi r minus 0, lower limit, so 2 pi r it will be the result. Then equating it with the expression mu naught I naught is equals to mu naught into I naught is current threading the path, which means number of turns into current. Number of turns for per unit length is N, total length is 2 pi r, so N into 2 pi r is the total number of turns, and I is the current, so equating the two we will get again same result, mu naught Ni. Magnetic field exists only in the tubular area bound by the coils, and it does not exist in the area outside and inside of the toroid. This is the important point. You can note down the result. And B is 0 at O and Q and non-zero at P. So this is the end of the first chapter of our magnetic effect of current, and this symbol is very important. The rule used to represent the direction of magnetic field due to a current carrying conductor of any shape. This is the universal rule which we can apply to find the direction of magnetic field due to a current carrying conductor, and conductor can be of any shape. This is very important. So we are closing this chapter here. You can complete this, try more and more questions as you have, and get ready for the next chapter that we will bring in next class. Till then, take care. Goodbye.